Okay, let's pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful, yet kind of invisible forces that shapes our entire world, the US dollar. Now, you might just think of it as money, right? But its real story, well, it's a story of absolute global control. Have you ever really stopped to wonder about this? I mean, how is it even possible that decisions made in Washington, D.C. can literally cause a whole other nation's economy to just collapse practically overnight? It feels impossible, but it happens. And the reason why is exactly what we're about to unpack. And trust me, the answer is not buried in some dusty old economics textbook. Nope. This is more like a geopolitical thriller, a story packed with world wars, broken promises, and secret backroom deals that created this system of global dominance. So, how on earth did we get here? To really get the dollar's power today, you have to see it for what it's become, a weapon. And a brutally effective one at that. You see, the US has essentially weaponized the entire global financial system, and it does it using two main tools: economic sanctions and a super powerful network called SWIFT. So let's start with SWIFT. Just think of it like a private WhatsApp for all the world's major banks. Pretty much every single international money transfer relies on this system. So when the US pressures SWIFT to kick a country out, like they did with Iran and Russia, it's the financial equivalent of dropping a nuclear bomb. All of a sudden, that nation can't trade, it can't get paid for its exports, its economy is just paralyzed, instantly. So how is this all enforced? Well, it's through this brilliant, kind of scary two-step trap. First, you have primary sanctions. That's simple enough. US companies can't do business with a target country. But the real power, the knockout punch, comes from secondary sanctions. This threatens any other country in the world that dares to trade with the target. It basically forces everyone to pick a side, and the result is the complete and total economic isolation of that target nation. But to understand how this incredible power ever came to be, we have to jump in a time machine. We're going back to the end of World War II. The world is in ruins, economies are absolutely shattered, and global trade has ground to a complete halt. And in the middle of all that chaos, one nation was standing stronger than ever. After selling weapons and supplies to pretty much everyone, the United States had managed to accumulate roughly 70% of the entire world's gold. This gave them an unbelievable amount of leverage. So in 1944, you have delegates from 44 allied nations getting together in a little town called Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Their mission? It was simple, but it was massive. Build a totally new, stable financial system out of the ashes of the old one. And America, holding all that gold, was standing by with a solution. The system they created was actually pretty straightforward. It had three simple layers. At the very bottom, the foundation, was gold. Then the US dollar was pegged directly to that gold at a fixed rate of $35 an ounce. And finally, every other currency in the world was pegged to the dollar. America basically made this huge promise to the world. Our dollar is as good as gold, you can trust it. And you know what? For a while, the system actually worked. It helped rebuild the world. But that golden promise, the very foundation of global trust, well, it was about to be broken. See, the US made a simple but really dangerous bet. They figured, hey, not everyone is going to ask for their gold back at the same time, right? So they started printing money, a lot of money, way more money than they actually had gold in their vaults to back it all up. But other countries weren't stupid. They started getting suspicious and they began trading in their stacks of dollars for real gold. And US gold reserves just plummeted. A secret attempt to control gold prices, called the London Gold Pool, completely fell apart. By 1971, the whole system was teetering on the edge of collapse. Global confidence was gone. And then came the final blow. On August 15, 1971, President Nixon went on TV and just like that, unilaterally severed the dollar's link to gold. The promise was broken. The world, which had built its entire economic system on that promise, was in total shock. It became known as the Nixon Shock. Logically, the dollar should have collapsed. Without the backing of gold, it was just paper. But in the background, the US was orchestrating an absolute masterstroke. A move so clever, it would lock in the dollar's dominance for another 50 years. This was the billion-dollar question, right? If not gold, what on earth would make the world need to hold and use US dollars? Well, the answer wasn't a precious metal, it was a black liquid. The US made a secret deal with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who at the time was the world's biggest oil exporter. The deal was beautifully simple. America provides military protection, and in return, Saudi Arabia agrees to sell its oil and get other oil producers to do the same, only in US dollars. And just like that, the petrodollar was born. See, every single country needs oil to run its economy, and to buy that oil, they now needed US dollars. This created a massive, permanent, artificial demand for the dollar that completely replaced gold as its foundation. And as a little bonus, those petrodollars were often invested right back into the US economy. But here's the thing. Unlike a system backed by a physical thing like gold, this new petrodollar system, well, it had to be enforced. And history shows that anyone who dared to challenge it would pay a very, very high price. I mean, just look at the examples. In 2000, Iraq's Saddam Hussein started selling his oil in euros. Not long after, his regime was overthrown. Libya's Muammar Gaddafi proposed a gold-backed African currency for oil. He was overthrown. Iran has tried over and over to create a non-dollar oil market and has just been crushed by sanctions. The message couldn't be clearer. Defy the dollar and you will be dealt with. For decades, this system has been the undisputed reality of global finance. But today, for the first time in a very long time, the dollar's throne is facing some serious challenges from a bunch of different directions. There's even a name for this movement: de-dollarization. Major global powers are now actively trying to find alternatives. You've got the BRICS nations talking about a new shared currency. China is striking new deals to buy oil with its own currency, the yuan. And countries like India and the UAE are making their own side deals to trade with each other and bypass the dollar completely. However, we have to be realistic here. Tearing down a system this deeply woven into everything is incredibly difficult. Experts point out that we've seen these big pushes against the dollar every decade or so, and so far, none of them have managed to actually dethrone it. The system is just too integrated into the global economy. Which brings us to the final critical question. Are we actually witnessing the beginning of the end for the dollar's empire? Or are these challenges just another test that it's going to survive, proving once again who really controls the world's money? Right now, that story is still being written.